Welcome back to the Triple Double Watch, guys. We are back with our first MLB episode, and today we're going to be doing a Cardinals-focused episode. We know we got some Cubs fans around, but on the day of recording, they just broke a 10-game losing streak, so they're not really relevant. Sorry, Cubs fans. If you were relevant, we might talk about you. But today will be a Cardinals-based episode, and first we'll just kind of talk about the lineup and how they've been doing so far.
Yeah, so big guy at the top, Big Tommy, there at the top. He's had a pretty good season. He's started out at second, but since moved to short. He plays other spots still, but 285 as of time of recording with a 791 OPS, 7 homers. I got to see the walk-off the other day, Tommy Edmonds. So good guy at the top. Took his spot back at the leadoff spot a little bit into the season. So then, as of right now, Brendan Donovan seems to be sliding into this 2-hole at second base, and he's played 44 games at the time of recording, hitting .341. So just really good bat to ball, 20 RBIs. It's really good to see. We'll get into the rookies a little bit later. How about you go through our big guys there?
Yeah, so then 3-4s are, our two studs, our corner infielders. Goldschmidt's been batting third recently, playing first base, and he is on a tear. We'll talk about him. He's probably the MVP runner right now, front runner. We'll talk about him more later. Arenado's been batting fourth, playing third base like usual, doing his Gold Glove things out there. Started off really hot. He was the April Player of the Month. Cooled off in May some, getting it back going here in June. He's batting .271, got his OPS back over 800, so he's looking good so far. And 5 through 9 has been mixed up here and there. There's been injuries in the outfield here and there. Yachty's currently out, just went to the IL. Let's talk about the outfield some.
Yeah, so O'Neill and Carlson both hurt for a considerable amount of the season, but O'Neill's played 42, Carlson 46 games as of right now. Definitely O'Neill struggled a lot to start, but I feel like he's starting to get back into a little bit of a rhythm. And all three of these guys have been playing elite defense per usual as of so far. Bader's been the best hitter of the three. He's hitting .258, so you definitely want to see all three of those guys improve offensively as we go forward. But, their presence in the outfield is felt daily. So it's good to see that every day out there. And then old reliable DH spot this year with the new rules. A little bit of Albert, a little bit of Yepez, just kind of here and there throwing a little bit of everybody. Gorman in that spot.
Yep.
So, yeah, Dickerson's injured right now. He's been in that spot some too. So,
yeah. So, the outfield's defense is still great. You hope O'Neill gets some power back. He's been hitting for average well since his injury, but trying to see a home run or two. Late 2021 stuff. Carlson is coming back into form. He had a rough start to the year, and Bader's been a great presence all year. You want to talk about the rookies now?
Yeah, some really, really good impacts from the rookies this year. Donovan and Yepez have been just the continuous presence around the team. Yepez has been DHing a lot. He plays left field, right field, first base. Donovan's that super utility that Edmund was at the beginning of his career. Plays everywhere in the infield and corner outfield primarily. Those two guys have been producing heavily on offense and defense. Then you got Gorman, who came up a little later. He started out strong. He's still doing all right, but he's kind of settled down a little bit. And then we've had a couple others here and there. And then we've also had Liberatore come up.
Yep.
His big debut has happened, and they've kind of just been sending him up and down all year. But you'd like to see him, hopefully, next year get a permanent spot in the rotation.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, and when they brought Donovan up, I don't even know, I wonder if internally the clubhouse expected to keep him up the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't know, because at the time he came up when O'Neal was injured and DeYoung was struggling, so they sent him down. And he came up around that time, and, who knows if they expected him to stay up, but he has found a permanent spot in the everyday lineup, not just the roster. And he's now batting 341 currently. That might be a little bit down now by just a day or two, but nevertheless, for a rookie to be batting over 300 is insane. His OPS is over 900, and this is an extended stretch
considerable at bats. 129 for that 341. So
this is no fluke now for sure.
Oh, it's been great to see, and it's good to have somebody they mentioned in a couple broadcasts so far since he's been in that 2 spot. You have a guy that can put the bat on the ball. He can work the counts, and he's hitting right in front of our 2 just studs.
Exactly.
Goldschmidt and Arenado. So he's definitely, I think, going to settle into that everyday role at hitting second, and it's unexpected, but definitely welcome.
And it's invaluable to have a utility guy like that. He's started in left field, right field, and every infield spot now this year. So
I've mentioned it to you. I saw somebody on Twitter mention that Brendan Donovan is what we thought Tommy Edman was going to be in the super utility.
Exactly.
And Tommy Edman is what we thought a free agent would have been at shortstop. So, in hindsight, I feel like it's been a great thing that we did not sign one of these guys, Correa or Story. I mean, obviously they're still relatively early, so they could pick it up, but they've not been great for the whole. I would argue that they've not been as good as Brendan Donovan.
Exactly, which is crazy to say. Yeah. To further along, we'll talk about Yepez. He had a strong start to his career his major league career when he came up. It's cooled down a bit, but by no means is struggling. Batting 272, OPS 771. Like you said, plays corner, outfield, first base some, gives some guys days off. It'll be interesting to see if he gets an everyday role now with everybody healthy. I really don't think he will, actually. I think he'll be kind of a platoon.
I think it'd be him and Gorman kind of a platoon at DH and the spot start in the field. But definitely him and Albert will probably play against lefties every day.
Yeah.
And then you might see Gorman every day against righties. But, it's going to be interesting. We got a lot of movable pieces. So it will, and you also got guys like Sosa and Kiz to slide in. Yachty's hurt right now, so Kiz will be every day. We'll see what our number 4 prospect Ivan Herrera can do in this little bit of time here.
Yeah, he'll probably get a few starts here and there every 4th or 5th day.
But I did want to mention with Yepez, it's kind of cool to see. He's obviously, baseball's not as, I don't know how to say, you don't see the connections with veterans and young guys as much as you do in the NBA.
Yeah.
For example, our Iguodala and Wiggins thing in the NBA. But Yepez has been learning a lot from Albert and Yachty.
Absolutely.
And he's always around him. If you look in the dugout, it seems like he's always bothering Albert. He'll be in the middle of their conversations. If you see Yachty and Albert in the dugout, Juan is probably somewhere in the surroundings. So it's definitely cool to see, and I'd like to think his part of that you can give Albert credit for some of his outbursts this year. So
yeah, it's great to have Albert back for sure. It's great for these guys to be learning. We have 4 rookies all making contributions, and then we have 3 guys, potentially all 3 retiring, all teaching them. Yeah. And it doesn't hurt having all these guys. We're saying Yepez might not have an everyday role now, and Gorman might not have an everyday role, even though they're producing great. And that's not a bad thing, because it just gives you a lot of options in late innings when relievers come in for pinch hitting opportunities. And to tie into that, we can talk about kind of how Ollie has been managing it so far this year. The new manager, Ollie Mormole, for the year.
I wouldn't say I was not liking the move of bringing him in, or kind of promoting him. But I definitely had my doubts, but I've enjoyed his managing all year. I mean, he just feels like he makes a lot better decisions with our bullpen most of the time, and his personality is a lot different than the previous 2 guys we've had, so that's good to see.
Yeah, I think he's injecting some some energy, some fun into the clubhouse.
Yeah, some non-usual Cardinal
Exactly.
personalities popping out.
And I think at the start of the year, he struggled a bit with the rotation kind of balancing their pitch counts because everybody was trying to rev up their pitch count some. And so it was hard to balance. Steven Matz had a few rough starts at the start of the year, and it was like, okay, should he have pulled him earlier? And that happened a lot with even Wainwright and some other guys. And he got through those first couple weeks, and then everybody got their pitch counts up more, and they got more rhythm, and he did a lot better with the rotation. He's been taking guys out more at a timely spot. And the bullpen particularly, even when he didn't take the starting pitcher out at the right time, he managed the bullpen the rest of the game great, for sure.
Yeah, I could kind of lead into how our rotation and bullpen have been.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk rotation first.
Our ace for this season definitely feels like it's been Miles Mikolas.
Yeah.
We'll get into a specific performance he had a little bit recently. And then you got Wainwright, who's just been solid. What was his ERA? I saw it earlier.
I think 2.82 now, or something like that.
2.84 as of this recording. Then you got guys like Dakota Hudson, who's been regular. And then we had Steven Matz, one of our bigger signings this offseason. He's currently injured. He's not doing great to start this season, so you hope he'll find something. Jordan Hicks also injured. He's been better than I thought he would be as a starter, but it just feels like it's not gonna.
He's just got to find some control. He's had control issues every start. His first innings has been rough all year, but regardless, when he comes back, he's at least going to get a bullpen spot again, and he could be deadly out of the bullpen.
I do think he needs to slide back into the bullpen, especially if Matz comes back. You can slide Matz back in, and Flaherty has made his return now. So I think you roll with that 5, and if you need a 6, you throw Liberatore in here every once in a while. You got our guy Packy. You got our guy Packy. You also got Woodford, and Palante has been pretty solid lately in his starts. So a lot of options. You got Oviedo as well. A lot of options. Our pitching's, I feel, a little deeper this year than last.
Yeah, for sure.
Starter-wise, so.
Yeah, you want to talk about Flaherty now? Just made his debut a couple days ago.
Not the greatest debut, but he had about a 60-pitch limit is what they were trying to keep him at. Struggled to begin the game, but he ended up with only 1 earned run given up, I believe.
Yeah.
A couple defensive miscues there. But it was good to see him back. Hopefully he'll get back to that 2019 form.
Exactly.
I hope so.
Yeah, and if he gets back into form, especially when he's pitching like 90-plus pitches, he's got to get back to that because he didn't get to do that much last year even. Only pitched a month or two before he was in and out, and then had pitch count limits even when he came back. But if he gets back to where he's given 6 innings in 2019 when, he's finished top 5 Cy Young, you could chalk it up as a win almost every night he was pitching. He was very dominant. And if you go your 1, 2, 3 of, in some order, Mikolas, Flaherty, and Wainwright, and especially come postseason, you're looking good then. You can match up with anybody. So Flaherty unlocks what this rotation can be. I think this is the type of start, though, that he can still build on. He had a bunch of good at-bats, a bunch of good pitches. So at least he got out of it.
He definitely solidifies our rotation when he comes back to form. I believe Hicks, when he comes back, if he slides into the bullpen, he makes this bullpen even better.
Exactly.
We've had good seasons from Gallegos and Cabrera and a couple other guys, but our revelation is Ryan Helsley this year. Just been insane, a .36 ERA as of recording. Just been lights out in the back end, and it's not even that he's the full-time closer because he has 5 saves to Gallegos' 9.
Yeah.
And Gallegos has still had a couple saves, but it's just it feels like he should be sliding into that ninth inning role. So
yeah, for sure. He's kind of, we knew he had really good stuff, but he's kind of come out of nowhere this year still, and the fact of a .36 is definitely not expected that good. But I like how they've managed him still. I I like the idea of not having a complete set ninth inning guy. Like, if you prefer one over the other, I like that. But having two options never hurts in the ninth. And so they had times where they go Helsley 8th and Gallegos 9th, and then they flip the next game and go Gallegos 8th and Helsley 9th. And so that's good to see. And Genesis Cabrera is a great lefty arm in the bullpen for us. He works a lot of 7th and 8th innings too. He's been really, really good this year. He's even had a few 2-3 inning games, which has been huge. And then a lot of the middle inning guys, when because there's been a lot of starts where Hudson and then especially Hicks' starts and some of Matt's starts where they only get 4 or 5 innings and you need some middle relievers. They have all held it down and gave us shots when we were down, and so that's good to see.
Yeah, guys like Palante. Palante had like a long relief role at the beginning of the year. You got Whitgren and Verhagen. TJ McFarland suffered a little bit of a rough year so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, just those middle inning guys. You got Cody Whitley, some other Angel Rondon, Walsh, just some guys that have had a few appearances. But it's good to see the depth all the way up and down, and especially when we get healthy again. I think, we got one of the deeper rotations and bullpens I've seen in the last few years. So.
Absolutely. And then if times get tough, we can turn to Yachty or Albert to give us a good, solid inning of work.
The old guys got us locked down.
Yeah. So let's talk about them three. That's been the headline all year since Pujols re-signed. Well, not re-signed, but signed back with us again. It is announced Yachty and Albert will retire. Wainwright's not officially said.
I think it's.
But he probably will. Now, I'm not going to rule it out, though, just because he's still been very good this year. He's one of those guys that I think could do it 2 or 3 more years if he really wanted to, and it might depend on the success of the team this year in the postseason. But it does feel fitting if they all three go out, for sure. But their production's still been pretty good overall.
Definitely, like you mentioned, Wainwright's been the best. Mm-hmm. Still in the 2 ERAs range, so, old guys out there, Uncle Charlie.
Yeah, absolutely.
That curveball. But like we mentioned with Ollie bringing personality, I think Albert's brought out a lot of these guys' personality. He's lightening everybody up, especially with him and Yachty. You see him smiling literally anytime they're around each other. So it's been awesome to see I remember that feeling in 2011 when I heard he was gone. I literally just felt sick that whole day. Yep. So having him back is like just the cherry on top of his career.
Yeah, and Yachty helps. We know what Yachty does. Whatever his batting average is, he's going to be ready come postseason for sure. And no matter what, he's always helping the rotation, the bullpen out immensely. And if you look at Albert's straight stats, you might think he's not having a great year. He's batting .210, OPS 676. But honestly, they were testing him out against righties some, and he can't bat against righties anymore. And it's just the fact of the matter. If you look at his lefty splits, I don't have it here, but he's probably batting at least 250. Yeah. His OPS is probably over 800 versus righties. So not righties, versus lefties. Yeah. Sorry. But so anytime a lefty is on the mound for the day, you have a very good piece to slide in, and there's going to be some lefties we might see come postseason.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to pull up those stats for you real quick, but he's got 4 homers. We're on the chase for 700. It's just not.
It's unlikely.
Very unlikely, but it's just cool to see him back in the birds on the bat on his chest.
Absolutely.
And trying to find these stats real quick. Little baseball references confusing me.
Well, while you look for that, I'll transition into the guy. I don't know if I can check it out. Mikolas, the guy on my back, had just 5 or 6 days ago had a near
really
no-hitter.
A really good outing.
Really good outing. And it fell just short. And it was a crazy near no-hitter because he had gave up a run. In the 4th inning, it was like... Well, actually, it wasn't even an earned run, though. He didn't give it up. Yepes had an error in left field. And then they went ground out, scored the run. And still hadn't given up a hit the whole time. And we get into the 9th inning, and he goes out, gets 2 strikes on a pinch hitter. Right, it was a pinch hitter, right?
Well, no, it was not a pinch hitter. He had subbed in for Brian Reynolds earlier in the 7th, I believe.
But 2 strikes on him.
It was his first at bat of the game.
Yeah, 2 strikes on him, and he lofts one into center field.
Really good pitch, in Mikolas' words.
Yeah, and right over Bader's head.
Just maybe by that much.
Yep.
I mean, it was.
And they were playing the outfield because they didn't want the blooper to end a no-hitter, as you should in that situation.
I mean, obviously you can look back and think otherwise, but in that moment, you definitely would rather watch a line drive to the wall fall down before you'd watch a blooper just fall in between somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But I watched that whole game, and dude, when it happened, the hit, I just felt sick again. I was like, man, because I was not even 2 months old the last time the Cardinals threw a no-hitter. So, it just...
And they've had a lot of near ones.
Had a lot of close
ones. Past 10 years or so.
Our guy Waka had a couple. Dakota Hudson got close.
Or, no, maybe not Wainwright.
Wainwright, I think.
He won.
A little while ago. And then Ponce de Leon got
hard guy.
About 7. But... Yeah, it sucked, but Mikolas didn't really seem too in the moment down about it, and it was a great outing. It was a doubleheader day, needed a long outing.
Exactly. That helps the bullpen out a lot for sure.
129 pitch outing.
They were letting him ride, that's for sure.
It helped the bullpen, and Mikolas knew. So
yeah, and I saw that the hit that went over Bader's head, that he had like a 18% chance of catching it.
And if Harrison Bader's not catching that, there's not much of anybody.
It would have been an absolute web gem if he had caught that, and would have been even cooler. But you can't expect that play to be made at all. But nevertheless, Mikolas has been great. The first month of the year, he was probably in Cy Young talk. He's not out of it by any means. If he has another strong month, he's under a 3 ERA, so he's been very, very good. And hope he continues it.
Yeah, I just wanted to go back to those stats I was looking for. Albert is hitting .351 against lefties.
Wow. I undersold it then.
Yeah, he's hitting .132 against righties.
Yeah, so simply just shouldn't be batting.
And we've given him 30 games against righties and 20 against lefties. So it's not what I expected coming into this. But like you said, we're trying to test it out. 132 is not going to cut it. So he has had 2 of his 4 home runs against righties, though. So there's that. And he's also drawn 11 walks against righties. So his on base is at 281 against righties. So it's not
terrible.
Not terrible, but his on base against lefties is 381. So 100-point difference there. But it's going to be interesting to see how high he can get. All these accolades he's accumulating. Yachty has become the all-time putouts leader the other day. So
yeah, it just feels like every week Wainwright, Molina, or Pujols is
somebody's
passing on something on some list, and we're announcing it, and that's very fun to see. And it's a lot of memories. It's a lot of things you could say if you go to a game this year. I saw him pass this, and that's cool.
Yeah, I did want to mention some of the games we've been in person. We've watched Albert pitch.
Yes.
Sunday Night Baseball beat the crap out of the Giants.
Albert's pitching debut.
We saw Paul Goldschmidt walk-off grand slam.
Yeah, walk-off versus the Blue Jays, bottom of the 10th.
Yeah.
So.
I saw Tommy Edman walk-off the other day. Which has been some great games, and if you know me, you know how bad my luck has been at the games I've been to previous years. But this year, I think they're 6-1 so far with me in attendance.
There we go.
And the only loss was the first game of the year, which we were both at against the Mets. So we'll be at a lot more games this year, a lot together, and bring some friends along. Kyler enjoyed his experience. So
I was at the Mets game where a fight broke out with Arenado and. The Mets, people getting hit all series.
It's a shame we didn't go to Pittsburgh to watch Yachty pitch.
Exactly. So and we're only 2.5 months into the season, and there have been a lot of great moments, and hopefully it continues in the postseason. But we'll talk about the man that is just at times carrying our offense, and some nights has literally been the sole success for us, and that's Paul Goldschmidt.
Yeah, and in that no-hitter game, that was a doubleheader day. He had 3 homers on the day, 8 RBIs. He's just been carrying us, like you mentioned. He's currently 347, 640 slugging, 1070 OPS, and 16 homers, 56 RBIs, and we're not even through June.
Yeah, he's
May Player of the Month.
At all betting odds places, he's the clear favorite for MVP by a good margin right now.
Which is wild because of how hot of a start Noah Arenado had. We've had both of the Player of the Month so far.
Exactly. And Goldschmidt has not cooled off in June.
No,
he's making a case for June Player of the Month
already
now as we speak. So Goldie has been solid every year of his career dating back to Arizona. He's never had a down year, really. It's good to see him have a complete breakout year now because, all these years he's batting 280, 290, 300, whatever, but now he's batting 340 and his pop's not going anywhere. 16 home runs on the year, a lot of RBIs. And he had the crazy on-base streak that was at 40-something.
Yeah, 45 or something.
He was creeping towards the NL record, which is at it's either high 50s or low 60s. Not the major league AL's longer, but still great streak. His hitting streak during that was at 25, I think. And so
and it got broke because he had a game where he got walked 2 or 3 times.
And Goldie's a guy that's not going to go chasing for pitches and stuff like that. He works the count. I mean, as evident here, his on base is 430, so almost a whole 100 points higher. So he's getting on base over 4 out of 10 times. That's just a huge presence in the lineup. Arenado behind him, Edman or Donovan in front of him. It's a great top of lineup for sure. And so looking forward, as great as we've been so far, we have a current 1.5 game lead in the division over Milwaukee. I think we'd fall into the 3 seed right now if the playoffs started today. Still a lot of baseball left to play, and you can never be too good in the game of baseball. You can never have too many bats in your lineup or arms in your rotation. What could we possibly do moving forward as a team internally and maybe externally looking for a trade or something?
Well, I feel like externally there's not much we could add other than maybe a couple bullpen arms. I mean, obviously you can always add an arm.
Yeah.
The rotation, if we're healthy, I feel like is set. You got those 3 we mentioned at the top, and then you got guys like Dakota Hudson fighting for the 4th spot, and I don't think there's any shot of Matt's being taken out of the rotation after we signed him.
No.
So that's your 5 going forward. If you need a 6th, you can find somebody internally.
Yeah.
So I feel like the only thing externally we could add is some bullpen arms because the offense is set, I think, too. I mean, we've talked about we've got people contributing that are not in everyday roles. So as barring a major injury, I think the only thing we could go for here is some bullpen pieces.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe you could potentially add another power bat. You kind of look at the lineup, and the only true power bats is kind of Goldie and Arenado. If O'Neill gets it going more, he's your 3rd. You could try to fill in another power bat just for spot plays here and there, maybe to play a corner outfield spot or something. Carlson and O'Neill have shown signs of injury in the past even, so you never know. But like you said, the lineup's very, very good. As far as the bullpen goes, we have Jordan Hicks coming back. We have Gallegos. We have Helsley 8-9 right there.
And you got Cabrera.
But we have Cabrera. But you could always, you never know about an injury. And even then, it's hard to pitch guys 2 or 3 days in a row for sure once you get into these postseason games. And these starts, they have short leashes in the postseason. It doesn't matter if you're Wainwright or if you're Dakota Hudson. You might only go 4 or 5 innings in a postseason start. And so you got to work 4 or 5 innings out of your bullpen then. And so it never hurts to have 4 lockdown guys in your bullpen.
Yeah, I definitely don't think we go for just a insanely high priced guy here. I think you just find somebody that can come in and shut down a 6th or 7th inning.
Yep, we throw a double-A guy or 2 and call it a trade deadline.
We'll have to towards the trade deadline. We'll see what's out there. Probably, I'm sure Mo will make some calls and hopefully get us some. We don't necessarily have to have.
Oh, we could totally get it done with this roster.
Yeah, but if there's anything externally you want, it's probably a bullpen arm. So we'll see what we can get. And hopefully we can make a run. Yeah,
absolutely. Hopefully the rotation stays locked down. That's always big in the postseason. Hopefully Wainwright and Mikolas and Flaherty gets up to going, like I said, 1, 2, 3 right there, and you can win every single series then.
Yeah.
So, but we're glad you guys joined us for this one. It's our first Cardinals-based episode. We'll have a few overarching MLB episodes, some shorter vids talking about specific topics. Sometimes we'll do some recaps of the week, some stuff we saw, some stuff we liked.
Some triples and doubles.
Some triples and doubles for sure. We got to get back to that for sure.
Didn't see any triple doubles in NBA plays. So maybe
yeah, I know. I don't think there's been a triple double all finals. I know.
Not Cardinals, but we've had a couple cycles. We'll have to mention.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So we'll have some NBA offseason stuff too. We'll have some MLB as it gets rolling along. NBA drafts coming up soon. Look out for a video preview and thoughts about it after it happens too. And we're glad you guys joined us.
Might see our first live stream during that.
Yep, that's true. NBA draft live stream potentially, so look out for it. Glad you guys joined us. Until next time, this is Triple Double Watch.
I don't have a hat anymore.